a really good way that I get out of burnout is by someone just commented ugly. My personal favorite because how to beat the YouTube algorithm. Romance! Come on. You're asking those type of questions. How much do I want to overshare? I don't know why that's a canon event. Everyone keeps warning you guys about this. How old are you? It all started in July 2020. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Celeste, and on this corner of the internet, I'm known to make crochet content. And actually, today might mark the day of my 1-year anniversary for my very first video. I lied, I was off by 1 month, but I went over a couple days, so... Anyways, not exactly a year, I'm so sorry. Since then, our community has grown to over 60,000 of us. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I've gotten well over 200 questions, and I'm not going to be able to answer them all, but I have tried to get as many different questions as I can. I've broken these questions down into 5 different sections. Number 1, general info. Number 2, everything about my crochet journey and fiber arts advice. Number 3, my YouTube journey, how I grew on YouTube, on social media, and how you guys can too. Number 4, deep talk. These are questions that are a little bit more personal and for the people who want to hear them. Number 5, advice column. Miscellaneous questions that you guys ask me, and I don't know why you trust me with it, but I'm gonna do my best to give my opinions. This video is gonna be a long one, so I hope you have something to do in the background. I've got this very fancy podcast mic here just for that, so hope you enjoy this audio quality. Let's get started. Starting off with general information. I feel like theoretically we should breeze by this, but I do tend to ramble, so we'll see how it goes. I also have a crochet project with me for emotional support. I honestly cannot multitask, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Starting off, how are you? I feel like I've had a lot of social activities going on. Lately, I feel like I haven't been on top of my game in terms of pushing out content, but in general, I've been pretty good. Thanks for asking. How old are you? I am 23. When is your birthday? My birthday is January 27th. Where are you from? So I was born and raised in the United States, specifically in Southern California. However, I know that's not the question that you guys were actually asking for. I am Korean. Both of my parents are Korean, which makes me Korean. So I was not born in South Korea. And fun fact, I've actually never been to South Korea, like in my entire life. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I have one younger sister. I think your name is really cool and pretty. Thank you. Any story behind it? I am aware that my name is pretty unconventional for Koreans. The root meaning behind it is heavenly. And in Spanish, celeste means sky blue. So I am the firstborn child, and my dad really wanted a unique name. So he was doing his research, he was asking a lot of his friends for some names. He finally got suggested the name Celeste. And I think his friends said that everyone that he met with the name Celeste was really smart or really pretty. Maybe that's just the fortune of the name. My dad really liked it. Again, he never heard of the name Celeste, so he was like, I might as well just give that to my daughter. So there we go. What is your favorite color? I know that we established that Celeste means sky blue, so it might be a cop-out answer to say that my favorite color is sky blue. But it kind of is. A very muted light blue, almost leaning towards periwinkle. I have preferences for color depending on what it's used for. So in decorating, I really like whites, yellows, more neutral colors. Accessories, I really like pink, as you can see right there. So it really depends, but I think safe bet is always blue. What is your favorite animal? Currently, I feel like it's deer. Ever since seeing a giraffe in person, I've been really liking giraffes. I also really like swans because I also have a proportionally long neck. Maybe likeness attracts like. Cats or dogs? Ooh, I'm not gonna make people happy with this answer. I am a dog person. I grew up with a lot of dogs, and I'm also allergic to cats, so that rules out the option as well. I just feel like even if I wasn't allergic to cats, Owning a cat would be like looking through a mirror. And I'm not sure I would particularly enjoy that. Did you go to college? Yes. If so, what was your major? So I majored in applied mathematics. There is the pure mathematics side, which is learning everything about math, proving theorems, and doing all that stuff. And I did do a lot of those. However, applied math is kind of a branch of math where you apply the math and tie it into other fields. So my concentration for that was data science, kind of related to computer science. I also did a minor in education in STEM. Why did you decide to study math? Well, originally my plan was to be a math teacher. I wanted to do high school math, like calculus level math. Do you sing? Yeah. I grew up doing choir and musical theater, especially because singing is a muscle and I haven't really practiced that in a while. I wouldn't say my technique is that great. I saw in one of your videos that you went to record a song. Is it out yet? If it is, what is it? Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I didn't record a song. I think it was in my yellow color crochet challenge. It looks like I was recording a song with Justin, my boyfriend, just kind of making a cover for fun. It's kind of like when your friends go karaokeing. It's like those vibes. He just really likes music producing, except with very professional setup. A lot of questions about, do I have other hobbies? I would say so. Right now, I feel like crochet is just overshadowing all of my hobbies because it's very time consuming. Before crochet, I was more known for dance. I don't know if this is really considered a hobby, but technically I did spend a lot of time doing this, so I'm gonna include it. I watched a lot of anime, collected a lot of manga, read a lot of manga. If you go on my channel, you can see a link tree. One of the links on there is my watched list, and it shows you all of the anime that I've watched. It's a lot. I think I'm at like 240 series that I've completed. I'm also a pretty active person. If anyone texted me being like, do you want to do this? I would probably say yes. It doesn't matter what hobby it is, I'll probably do it. Are you into any video games? I had a Sims 4 phase for a while. Rather than playing video games, I like watching people play video games. Most of the channels that I'm subscribed to on YouTube are people playing games. I was able to like vicariously live through people because I couldn't afford to buy games when I was a kid. Do I have a favorite food? I will eat anything. One of my comfort foods has to be either Korean food, like soups, galbijjim, tteokbokki, or creamy pasta, specifically creamy rigatoni pasta. Dream holiday destination would probably be Korea, and then after Korea, Japan. Like, it would have to be one trip together. I think that's kind of the obvious. Other than that, I would really like to go to Switzerland or Iceland. Just something with a very beautiful nature. What are your top 3 K-dramas? I actually don't watch a lot of K-dramas, but the ones that I remember being pretty good. What's Wrong with Secretary Kim? Crash Landing on You? Boys Over Flowers is a classic. I've watched every iteration of Boys Over Flowers. Like live action and anime and manga. What's your favorite type of music? R&B pop. I think my favorite artists are LUV, Nicki, Madison Ryan Ward, Olivia Dean, Bruno Major, Couch, Common Gathering. Do I have any song recommendations? Yes. However, my brain's a little fuzzy, so future Celeste will put down songs from each artist that she just recommended. Pause here. Do you listen to K-pop? I would like to disclaim, I feel like there is a clear difference between a casual listener and then people who actually follow with the fandom, buy the albums, follow up with the idols. Even though I like the groups and I like the songs, I can't bring myself to call myself a stan because I don't necessarily do those activities. Recently, I feel like Islet has been pretty up there for the songs that I like. I just like their overall vibe. It's fun. It's like cuteness, but it's also weird, and I like that. Their concept technically is like dreamcore. Did you watch Attack on Titan and did you love it? I watched Attack on Titan like when it first aired. Okay, you are talking to the OG AOT fan who still has not watched the final season because I haven't got around to it. Oops. We've now entered the crochet section, which is, I think, what a lot of you guys are here for. I finally started resuming the jacket project that I was working on for so long. I started this on my birthday. I think it's the perfect project to do because it's mindless stitches. At least, I hope so. Anyways, let's get started. When did you first start crocheting and what inspired you to do so? I first learned how to crochet because my friend Ethan hosted a crochet night on August 2024. It was a pretty large group of us. I would say maybe there was around 12 people there. Most of us didn't know how to crochet, and I was able to move on fairly quickly from the rest of the people in that night, and I started doing other projects actually. Then, shortly after that crochet night, I caught COVID. And mind you, this is 2024, so it's a little embarrassing to get COVID then. But I had to quarantine in my room for about 2 weeks. And this was the weeks leading up to my final year in college. So I really had nothing else to do. I already watched so many shows up until that point that by the time I was quarantined, I just didn't want to watch anything else. I just picked up crochet. That's how I learned how to crochet. The first project that I made was at the crochet night. I actually have it right here in front of me. It's not the bear, okay? It's the heart charm. The bear was a later project, and so to incorporate the charm, I thought it would be cute to make a crossbody bag. Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't really know what to do with this heart, you know, where would I put it? This was our group project. Everyone was learning how to make this. I was like, am I even doing this right? And I think I practiced that heart maybe 3 times, and I thought I could move on afterwards, so while everyone was still practicing that heart, I found a different tutorial for me to work on. I found this Miffy pouch tutorial, but I only did one side of it, so it's more like a coaster. So technically, those two are my first 2 projects because I completed them within the same night. Is that how it works? What was the hardest project when you first started crocheting? I think I found projects that kind of built on top of each other. I didn't really find a project that was too hard. After the charm, then it was the Miffy pouch. Then I made a lily of the valley flower. I'll make sure to insert some photos. And the thing about lily of the valley flowers is that there's 3 buds. Because I got to work on the flower 3 times for the same flower, I practiced a lot. I think that was a pretty comprehensive project. Got to do wire work. I have my own hot glue gun at home, so it was pretty chill. And then I attempted a pot holder, the little mats that protect your table from your hot pots, but I didn't really find a design that I liked. But I realized that there are a lot of coasters that I liked. So what I ended up doing was following a pot holder tutorial up until I got the size of the pot. And then I followed a coaster tutorial for a design that I liked, but it didn't quite align with the number of stitches that I had for my pot holder. So I had to like finick my way around with the number of stitches, skipping a little bit. So I think that was actually my first taste of freehand crochet. Now that I'm thinking about it, I always did wonder why I was able to quickly freehand things so much. Since you guys comment those questions, it did make me wonder, where did I learn that from? I'm realizing I just always did whatever I wanted. And that's basically freehand crochet. What was the absolute hardest or most complex project you've ever completed, and how long did it take? Towards the end of my senior year in college, I was doing student teaching, and as a thank you to my mentor teacher for allowing me to take over his classroom, I decided to make an amigurumi dog plushie of his own dog. There was a lot of factors as to why it was hard. I think I've only made 1 plushie. His dog is more complex. Like it has a lot of spots. I had to learn how to do a lot of color work. As I was working through it, it also was getting really big, and I didn't have enough yarn to fully complete the project if it was that size. And so from my very limited freehand knowledge, I tried to make it smaller. The thing about that particular amigurumi is that there's a lot of weird shapes. I was really struggling on how to make something size down, but also retain the shaping. I was also running out of time. I was student teaching, but I was also a university student. And those are honestly the main two responsibilities, but it takes up a lot of my time. I remember actually pulling an all-nighter for that plushie, and I was so scared that I wasn't gonna make it in time. I was getting headaches from staying up too late. I was really second questioning myself. Like, it was physically not the best situation for me to be in, but I did end up finishing it, and I think it turned out pretty cute. Wow. How many tops have you made so far, and show them? Okay, hold on, let me actually write this down. If I'm not missing anything, I have made a total of 7 tops. The very first wearable top that I made was the highkey sweater by Crafty Hija. I don't really have any content around it because that was before I started anything. I did end up frocking the sweater, and I later turned it into a raglan cardigan for my boyfriend. I did make a couple vlogs with it, so this should look familiar to some of you guys. Also, with that same yarn, I made this mesh lace top. I came across this lace pattern, then I realized if I made 2 different panels, I could kind of make a mesh top. I made a TikTok with it, like a really short TikTok. Then I made this pink cropped cardigan. I did end up frocking that as well to turn it into an asymmetrical mesh top that I made in my pink color crochet challenge. That project is also currently all frogged to make my birthday jacket. Then I pattern tested the Versa top. That top is so pretty. And lastly, I made the off-the-shoulder scalloped sweater from my purple color crochet challenge. I have a tutorial for that one. What is the best project you have worked on? I don't think you guys will be expecting this one, but I made this bag for my mom. It's a bobble bag, but I made it with black chenille yarn in combination with the bear keychain that I made. Is just so cute. It reminds me of the Ralph Lauren polo bears. This is my personal favorite because every time I look at it, I love it. It's something that I would buy. What was your favorite color crochet challenge? Project-wise, I really liked my pink color crochet challenge. That video included a lot of various types of projects, and I liked every one of them. But I think overall experience-wise, my yellow color crochet challenge was really fun. More of the lifestyle bits in that vlog was really fun. What are some colors you'd never crochet with? That's kind of hard. Before I was forced to do every color of the rainbow, I would have said purple. I also probably would have said orange, just because I can make other projects that don't use those colors. If you could only use one yarn brand and one hook size for the rest of your life, what would they be? So you're asking those type of questions. I'm thinking this more like project-wise. What are some projects that I would be fine with doing for the rest of my life? Probably plushies. So I would use some sort of a chenille brand. I haven't figured out the best chenille yarn brands. I've just been using whatever I could find. So if you have any recommendations, put them down below. One common thing with all of my chenille yarn is that I use a 5.5 crochet hook. How many unfinished crochet projects are sitting in your room right now? Next question. Just kidding. If I had to put my finger on it, I would say 5 unfinished projects, and then I think maybe 3 projects that are technically finished, but I have plans to frog them and make them into something else. Typically, I don't like having unfinished projects, so they will eventually get done. Do you plan to learn knitting? Yes. Yeah, eventually. especially for wearables. I think knitting looks absolutely gorgeous. And if I ever do, I will definitely take you guys along that journey. But I also feel like there's a lot of things that I can still design in crochet, and I want to keep doing that before I pick up another medium. Would you be able to give more tutorials in the future? Definitely. I just ask that you guys are patient on this. More so during the fall time and when I'm indoors more and running out of things to do, you can expect more tutorials. I'm gonna group these two together. Will you ever sell your crochet items? Will you want to do markets? I can't really see myself thriving in a made-to-order type of environment, and rarely on my channel do I make the same things over again unless the person that I know specifically wants the same items. As of now, if I were to ever sell my crochet items, they would be at markets. I have an idea, like a theme in mind for my markets that would be really fun to do. If you know any good market vendors in Southern California, please let me know. Where do you get your materials other than yarn? So hooks, charms, etc. My crochet hooks I actually got from Amazon. It was like an entire set of them. Someone said that my crochet hooks are weird because they kind of bend upwards. You can technically bend it because it's like a little so anyways. Because I use pencil grip, it's really nice. It holds like a very ergonomic pencil. Amazon is the main place that I get any of my supplies, like the really small items that you buy in bulk, like the keychains or safety eyes. This goes with charms as well. I also like going to Daiso. Do you feel like you are a great pattern designer because you have a math degree and have a mindset of fixing problems? That's a really good question, and also a really great way of putting it. A lot of why I'm able to overcome a lot of problems is because I can visualize things really easily in my head. I'm able to easily form a picture of what I want and almost dissect the process of how to get there. And I don't necessarily think that's because of math. I think that's just because I have a very vivid imagination. How can someone make better amigurumis? Make it tighter. I never use the recommended hook size. I don't know when I first started doing that, but I just found that having things more packed together makes your plushie just look more formed. Eye placement and the facial placement can change your entire design. My general rule of thumb is that the eyes should go no higher than half of the face. If you look at my giant Miffy, you see how the face is like a sphere and the eyes never go past half. Even with my bear plushie, you can see the same sort of proportions, but it's not always the case for everybody. So it's just kind of figuring out what proportions you like the best. How do you make wearable patterns? I had a little experience sewing. I think I was in elementary school. My mom got a sewing machine and we would just kind of play around with it. We wouldn't actually make clothes, but I guess through experimenting, I did start noticing how clothes are structured. So I would just start by examining your favorite types of garments, your favorite clothings, and just turn it inside out and see how it's made. You don't have to disassemble it, just kind of see the shapes. Can you please teach us how to take measurements for crochet garments, like converting stitches into centimeters? Converting stitches into centimeters is all around the concept of converting units. For example, if you want to convert inches to feet, how would you do that? If you want to convert a measurement from centimeters to meters, how would you do that? And if you said you have to multiply by something or divide by something, you would be absolutely right. There is a conversion factor to go from one unit of measurement to the other. A great way to do that is through unit rates. Obviously, you cannot find how many stitches are in 1 centimeter because a centimeter is so small and stitches are so small. So instead of 1 centimeter, why don't we look at a bigger unit of space like 10 centimeters. So within 10 centimeters, count how many stitches are in that same space. And that's going to be your conversion factor. Now, a reason why 10 centimeters is super popular in pattern design is because 10 is just a really nice number to multiply and divide by. Some patterns use 5 centimeters. Just the whole idea is that you can essentially convert any measurement into another if you just know what occupies the same space. Do you ever get burnt out with coming up with video/crochet ideas? If so, what seems to inspire you, if anything? Immediately, the first thing that comes into mind is taking a little bit of a break. If I'm burnt out and I can feel that I'm burnt out, that means I am just tired and I need to stop. But of course, there's always that fear of, what if I stop and I never return? In that case, I get inspiration just by being in the crochet community, seeing other people do projects and them having fun with it inspires me a lot. In general, a really good way that I get out of burnout is by doing things for other people for a number of reasons. For one, it makes me feel good doing things for people that I care about. Also, other people just have really great ideas. Sometimes people would request projects that I personally wouldn't have come up with on my own, and by making things for them and creating things for them, and then after I finish that project for them, suddenly I have a lot more ideas. So that is something that does ground me in my creativity. How do you get the motivation or time to finish and redo projects? Fear? I think it's just the perfectionist side of me. I don't like leaving things off in a place that I'm unsatisfied with. That's also a big reason why I'm not afraid to frog any of the wearables that I made. Also, you guys keep me motivated. Like seeing all your comments, seeing how you guys are also making your own projects with me, how you're waiting for a new video, or how you enjoyed the video that I posted. That always gets me really motivated, particularly the comments that leave timestamp comments. That's always so funny. Like, those are my favorite type of comments. How do you make your projects stiff, like even the glasses holders you made? I double strand my yarn. Either you have two separate balls that you work together, or you use the inside end and the outer end of the same skein and work on them together. You should notice when you're working with double strand that it is a little bit more hard to get the stitches. Like, you'll just feel it becoming thicker and stiffer. So in general, the way that I make my project stiff is by using a thicker fiber with a smaller hook, or a relatively smaller hook. What's your top piece of advice for a beginner who keeps messing up their stitch count? Ooh, okay, first of all, it is completely normal. If your stitch count is off by 1 or 2, I would just say add a little increase in there, add a little decrease, because it's not that big of a deal. However, if it is a lot of stitch counts being off, then alarm sound should be signaling. One very common mistake that I see for newer crocheters, and especially for my patterns too, is that they would miss a comma in the pattern. For example, there is a very big difference between single crochet increase and single crochet comma increase. Again, there is a difference between 2 single crochet decrease and 2 single crochet comma decrease. Do you know what I'm saying? How much time did you take to make and upload your first video? So my first video was the green color crochet challenge, and I really didn't know if I wanted to upload it. I'll explain more later in the YouTube and content section. I was filming for about a month and a half, and I was letting that video marinate for weeks. While I was filming it, I wasn't sure if I actually wanted to make this into a video. So I was almost half filming things here and there. During the editing process, that became more apparent to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not properly plan for this video, and I was getting a little self-conscious. In total, my first video took me 2 months, but mainly because my self-doubt got in the way. How do you decide which crochet projects become videos? Almost all of my crochet projects become videos now, actually. I don't know if that's healthy or not. I like every element about YouTube. This entire process is just fun for me to do. I mean, honestly, I love what I'm doing. I love just kind of doing my little thing and then having my phone on the side. La, la, la. That actually leads on to my next section, which is everything about YouTube or content creation. Let's get started. What inspired you to start a channel? How much do I want to overshare? Long story short, the inspiration behind my channel was honestly a way for me to keep myself accountable. I was going to do these projects anyways in real life, so I might as well just vlog it and then make some sort of content. How do you film your videos? Also, how do you film such high quality videos? So I actually film everything on my iPhone. Surprise, surprise, I don't have vlog cameras, although I am very open to it. So Canon, if you want to send me a camera, Insta360 if you want to send me your camera, thank you. I have the iPhone 15. My camera settings are filming in 4K in 60 FPS or frames per second. Right now I'm actually filming in 30 frames per second because I'm not moving that much. If you have a really good storage plan on your phone, I would say just go for it. Film in 4K, 60 FPS. But I would also say invest in a hard drive, an external storage that you can send your videos to so that your phone clears up. This one is a very popular question. What app do you use to edit? I use iMovie and Adobe Premiere Pro. I normally do my rough cuts on iMovie just because I like the simplicity of the UI. For all these graphics that I use, like these frames, this, and this, and this, and then maybe I'm having too much fun with it, I use Canva. I heavily use the green/blue screen effect on iMovie, and then for my subtitles I use Premiere Pro. The software for Premiere Pro is much stronger than iMovie, so I'm able to consolidate all of my clips together here. How would you describe your editing style, and do you have any tips for how to achieve it? I don't really know how to name this style. Do you know those aesthetic channels like Living Alone Diaries, Pinterest Girl? This is definitely a generalization, but I find that a lot of Korean channels implement that style. As for any tips on how to achieve it, I would say probably start with music. I think music can completely change the vibes of your video. There are a lot of channels that release copyright-free vlog music. Besides that, I would say just pattern recognize on channels that inspire you. What I mean by this is not to copy, just figure out what features you like and find your own way of doing it. What made you decide to pursue content creation? Even though this question is similar to my inspiration for starting my channel question, I kept it in there because it's a little bit more general. It's not that I just woke up one day and decided like, yes, I'm gonna be a content creator. But I feel like nowadays it's just hard to not be in content creation. I'm on social media a lot. Even if I wasn't doing content creation, I would be consuming it. I would see other people probably doing get ready with me's, going to events, watching YouTube videos and vlogs. My mentality is that if I'm already absorbed in that environment so much, and I believe that I have the skill set to also do it, why shouldn't I? If I think that personally those tasks are easy to do, then I can just dip my toes a little bit. And since I love the process of creating, why not just try? My niche also really helps, being in the creative space, being in the crochet space. A lot of my friends are really surprised when they ask me if I ever get hate comments, and you know, sometimes I have really weird comments. It's literally just like one word or one emoji, and it would be like the barfing emoji, or someone just commented ugly. Just comments that kind of feel like bots, like not really humans. I do consistently get 3 dislikes on all of my videos, which is weird. But other than that, I feel like no, I actually don't get a lot of hate comments or any negative response. I think that really helps, having a very safe community. If I was dealing with that, I feel like I would get tired very quickly. Moment of opportunity to say thank you guys for being you. How do you find motivation to start your day and make it aesthetic? Consistency helps make things aesthetic. If you just scroll on Pinterest, there's a lot of different aesthetics out there. There's grunge or dreamcore, coquette, that kind of thing. And one thing that you'll notice about all of them is that the color scheme is pretty similar. Aesthetic rooms always have some sort of color scheming, whether it's black and white and pink, white and blue, right? We find those things aesthetic because there's a consistency to them. And that sort of satisfaction from knowing what to expect can also help with aesthetics. At least that's how I view it. So when I'm filming videos, I actually do try to keep the colors pretty consistent. If I'm filming a color crochet video, I actually try to wear colors with that color scheme. Not always, but sometimes. When I was filming my blue color crochet challenge, I try to get a lot of pictures of the sky. In my orange video, I had a drink that had an orange peel on it. That was actually not planned. I was wondering, how did you make so many subscribers and views just from your first video? You know what? I don't know. Somebody also asked me too, if any of my followers transferred from TikTok. And truthfully, yes, some of them did. So when I revamped my TikTok and I started going to crochet content, I also let people know, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube. And I think people were under the impression that I was going to make a YouTube for crochet tutorials. Despite having that many people engage with my TikTok videos, right? And I'm talking about like hundreds and thousands of views on my TikTok videos. 96 subscribers is what I started out with on my YouTube. That is a lot of people, right? Having 96 people just decide to follow you for that. But you know, when we're thinking of a channel and what we count as success, that's not really a big number. I'm just pulling up my statistics here for a bit. So I'll insert a picture of my growth. When you zoom in, you can kind of see it's almost flat. I kept refreshing and refreshing my video and the growth was so slow. So I actually just didn't check it until Justin and I went to Disneyland. I think I was in the queue line for the Star Wars ride, Rise of the Resistance ride. By that point, it was actually 11 days since I published the video. So well over a week. I checked back on that video and I think that's when, yeah. I mean, I felt very good, but I also felt very lucky. I felt like I knew intuitively what sorts of videos do well and what don't, but for the first couple of days that I was checking my YouTube and the growth wasn't growing, I felt a little discouraged. So then when I checked back on it, like 11 days after, I was actually at a loss for words and I felt very fortunate. I felt really lucky, just taken aback. And I've tried to rationalize what factors might have contributed to that success, and I do have a couple of theories. So if you guys don't know, my very first YouTube video was crocheting with green, and I've watched almost every video on YouTube that teaches you how to optimize your viewers or how to beat the YouTube algorithm, that kind of thing. This is my thumbnail. If you can see, it's very monochromatic. It's the classic 3-panel. And actually, one thing that I noticed until much later is that all of the frames that I picked for those 3 panels were very similar. So if I zoomed out and saw this in the grand scheme of all the YouTube videos, my thumbnail sticks out because it has like one color block, you know? Another thing is it kind of opened up into a series, right? If people liked my video, then they would probably like all of the other color videos that were to come, and people engaged with it, they commented their favorite color, and a lot of those people subscribed because they knew that in my next coming videos I would make very similar content. What's your best advice for small crochet creators? I have 2. The first one is start with short form content. It's just easier to do. You can make so many more short form contents and reach a greater audience starting from there. And from an analytical standpoint, you can also kind of figure out what your audience likes or doesn't like. Start releasing a bunch of shorts and make them slightly different from each other, and just figure out what might work and what doesn't work. Then your long form content could build up from there. But the second advice I would give is to try to make your content into a series. If you really want to grow, you want to find your audience, and your audience needs to know what to expect from you. For the audience, it makes it easier to know what to expect, and it also helps you just formulate your future ideas. Just like how I did with my 1-color crochet challenge, it made it so much easier for me to plan my next video idea because I just had to choose the next color. I would say if you don't know where to start, find some sort of series that you think you would like, that encapsulates a part of you, and go all in on it. Chances are, if your first video blows up, great. If your first video doesn't do that well, but you really like the message or you really like the concept of your theme, keep at it. I would say just keep at it, because what if your second video goes viral? Then people will look at your account and say, oh, that person's also got a similar video. I'm gonna click on that too. Then both of your videos are going to be successful. Even if like you post, let's say 5 videos, they don't do well. Maybe your 6th video will do well and people really like it. Then they look at your channel or your account and say, whoa, now I gotta binge the rest of this series. So it's great. Just make a series. Make a series. How can I be consistent in posting videos, and how do you manage your time? I don't think it works for everybody. I think I mentioned this a little before, but I try to put myself in the most inconvenient settings where I'm almost forced to get my work done. Even if I'm indoors, I dress in outdoor clothing because I know I'm not gonna go on my bed. I'm wearing denim pants. I don't want to be wearing a bra and a tank top in my own room, so I have to be productive. I do my makeup because I don't want to waste my makeup doing nothing. I think just getting in the zone and the appropriate setting, that helps me a lot. What's the biggest mistake you made as a creator? Not doing it sooner. I don't know why I had so many reservations about not doing it sooner. Even if I just did it like 2 years ago, I would have had so much content. But I'm also very thankful that I started this journey when I did, because I would have been a very different person on camera and also in real life. I do feel like I have matured as a person. I'm very meticulous on what I say on camera because I know that whatever I post online is going to stay online. If I started this a couple years back, I don't think I would have had that mentality. How do you feel when your video doesn't do as expected on YouTube? I definitely feel bad because I put so much time into it. I would definitely feel a little offended. But at the end of the day, I make these videos for me. I think I'm the funniest, the most tasteful taste in music, the prettiest, the smartest. I just enjoy my videos. So if my video doesn't do as expected, I still enjoy the process of that video. I still get comments, very sweet comments. I still have something to look back on and remember that moment. I try not to let that initial ambition take over, but rather focus on the fact that I created something and I followed through with creating something. Okay, now it's time for the deep and personal section. My philosophy is, if you guys made it this far, you earned it. Or if you were one of the people who skipped to this section. Before I even start this section, I'm just gonna share something. That previous section really started to bug me. The lighting was not good. I much prefer this warmer lighting, yellow and cozy, and I love it. And I was also considering if I should change into more normal clothing, but I thought my pajamas would be really fit for this. Here we go. What's something normal that secretly annoys you? I feel like this question is double layered, right? Something that secretly annoys me, but on top of that, generally it's normal for most people. When somebody sneezes multiple times, I sneeze multiple times, mainly because I'm really sensitive to dust. So when I sneeze, it's never just once, it's like multiple times. So many consecutive sneezes. So I have been subject to so many blessies in my life that after 3 sneezes, I have to verbally tell people like, please stop blessing me. I just gotta privately deal with this on my own. Your blessing will not change the fact that my system is not computing. It's the fact that I can't stop sneezing that annoys me. And then the person who is blessing me is affirming that I've sneezed so many times. Is content creation or crocheting your full-time job? And if so, when did you decide to go down this path? When I first started my YouTube channel, it was hard to tell if this was just a passion project or something that I legitimately wanted to pursue as a career. I saw the growth after publishing my 2nd video, then my 3rd video, and more of you guys kept coming and more of you guys stayed. I felt more confident that this was something that I could build for myself, but I knew that even though this is a dream, I feel like every girl kind of wants to have their own YouTube channel, but I had to be very realistic with my goals. I did start this YouTube journey very late, compared to most people online. I'm done with school. I have a degree. A lot of people my age have full-time jobs, some are even engaged. So just having this dream wasn't enough. I did give myself a timeline. I said by the end of the year, if I reach 10K subscribers, that would be a sign to know that I was doing something right. And if I couldn't reach it by then, I would consider it more as a hobby. And as many of you guys know, I met that goal in 3 months. 10K subscribers in 3 months. That was the turning point for me, and that's when I decided to take this path a little more seriously. Do you think one day you are going to work with that degree, or is YouTube going to be your full-time job? I think it takes a very special personality to keep doing that for the rest of your life. It is always good to have a backup plan. Prior to being on YouTube, I was going to go into teaching. I've done a lot of student teaching, which is basically the teaching equivalent to an internship, and I do love teaching a lot. One thing that did scare me though was the idea of being a young teacher, especially in a high school setting. I'm pretty adamant about teaching high school. I don't want to teach any other grade level. A lot of people assume I'm going into elementary when I say teaching. I can't do that. Middle school, I definitely cannot do that. And I know that for how old I am, I do look a little younger. My students thought that we were around the same age, which cut deep for me because I feel like as a teacher, there needs to be some sort of separation so that they could look up to you. But if they consider you as someone who is closer to their peer, I wasn't sure if I really liked that. And I'm not naive. I know that if I was running a school, I would also be concerned if a new teacher looks like a student. Despite the potential that they could have and despite the talents or the positive environment and impact that they could bring, I would still be concerned about that. So I think starting this channel, doing YouTube and doing social media came at a pretty good timing for me. I would absolutely love to teach at a later point in my life. And I personally found it cool when my teachers had different jobs before being a teacher. So I'm hoping that kind of builds on my lore a little bit. But I think my degree has actually been very helpful on YouTube. The analytical side, figuring out your audience, the whole act of organizing data and aggregating values. It's definitely an easier version of what I learned in school, but it still helps so much. How did you and Justin meet? We met in college. This was my senior fall and Justin's junior fall. He's 1 year younger. At the time, I was one of the 3 directors for my dance team, and none of us had any experience with blending music. Then we got connected with Justin because he's so great with music and producing and that kind of thing. And then ever since then, we just kept crossing paths. At the time, I just started school, so I was in my productive era. I was getting up really early, going to the student center to go do some work, and Justin naturally has a great routine. He's always so on top of it. If it was at any other point of the year, we would not have ever crossed paths. Honestly, that's probably why we never crossed paths until that point. In the morning, we saw each other very often. I would see him at the gym, I would see him at church, I would see him I just kept seeing him. And neither Justin nor I had the intention of dating in mind, but as people got a little bit more suspicious because they just never associated the two of us until now, we also started to think and consider the possibility. Who made the first move? You guys are such a cute couple. Funny you should ask that because we are both attractors. It's normal for a girl, okay? Let's get that one thing straight, okay? The guy should always make the first move. I don't know if any guys are listening to this, but if you are, the guy should always make the first move. So we played this bantering game, this flirty game, trying to see who would confess first. Of course, Justin folded. Prior to us dating, as I said, we had many conversations about the potential of dating, and I did share with him that I wanted to be asked out a little bit more formally, with flowers or a nice grand gesture. I have actually been in numerous relationships before Justin, and I realized that almost every single time when I get into a relationship with somebody, it would be very spontaneous. Like, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it's really late at night, you guys are talking as friends, then suddenly romance and interest enter the conversation. Then somebody says, do you want to try being a couple? Right? And then you're still all like heart fluttery and it's all butterflies and sunshines. Then you say yes, then you go to sleep, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, what did I just do? I have a boyfriend? I didn't want that anymore. I wanted it to be an intentional gesture, so I said, if I don't get flowers, I'm not going to be your girlfriend. I will say no. Try again. He did exactly that. He surprised me with flowers. He actually made it an entire skit. He pretended that he forgot something in the car, and we were walking down the street. Then he pulled something underneath a bench that we always used to sit and have conversations at, and he pulled out the bouquet that he handmade, and it was really cute. What's the weirdest hill you're willing to die on? Big bucket of red vines. S tier snack. Moving on. Are you a Christian? Yes, I am. Praise the Lord. What do you do if you lose faith? I think when you are a Christian, you cannot lose your faith. But I think I understand what you mean. I've definitely had so many moments where I feel like I'm super connected to God and I'm on fire for him, but then there's also those valleys where I'm like, and I just start to spiral. One of the times that I did spiral for a really long time, I wrote myself a letter actually. Ta-da! I'm not gonna read it to you guys because this is very personal. I was asking the same thing. Like, I did what a lot of people do and I searched up online Bible verses about faith. I was led to this Bible verse. This comes from Romans 10:17. So faith comes from hearing, and hearing from the word of Christ. I think that's when it clicked for me. I was trying to find actions. How do I solve my faith problem with actions? What can I do? When the answer was really simple. Just try to hear God. I am not a perfect Christian. I don't think anybody is, but I at least want to think that every time I crack open this book, that God is smiling down on me and saying that I am so proud of you, daughter, for doing it today. I missed you. Opinions on gay people. I kept this in here because I think it's a great topic to share now that I just shared about my Christianity. I love you all. And I was talking to my friend about this, and I was like, how would I talk about this? Because I feel like people know about my Christianity, and so they often assume Christianity with this kind of hatred or homophobia. And my friend shared that it's probably because a number of my viewers want to know if they are welcomed and included in your channel. But it really is that simple. It should always be a safe space. I'm doing crochet content. When it comes to my channel, any aspect of your identity does not restrict you from being here. And I hope that nothing that I do or say will ever cause you to think otherwise. If your younger self met you today, what would surprise them the most? Oh, how many boyfriends I had. Younger Celeste was a square. She was very reserved. Even though a lot of people have attempted to pursue her, she would not let them. She was very strict about who she would consider to date. So if she saw my lineup of partners, I think she would actually be a little bit offended. What's a belief you had 5 years ago that you've completely changed your mind about? 5 years ago, I was 18. That being friendly with somebody doesn't mean that you're friends with them. Back then, I was very optimistic. If we know each other's first and last names, we are friends. We are besties. And I didn't understand why until much later. There's a weight to calling somebody your friend. I think I was craving that without actually putting the commitment into it. Advice column. It's always good to have multiple perspectives, so I open the floor up to you guys as well if you want to pitch in on any of them. I just ask that you be kind. Please don't say that you hate my advice because it's actually going to make me cry. How are you so comfortable expressing your emotions and personality? It just comes from the comfortability of being on camera and just talking for a while. I think the first time that I was talking to the camera, I was a little bit nervous, but now it's almost like you're not there anymore and it's just me talking to a mirror. What advice would you give to someone who is uninspired to keep on crocheting? Because I associate crocheting as a more indoor hobby or a more chill, something for me to settle down, I need something active to go along with that so that when I come home, the crocheting or the more chill hobby feels much more like a reward. I have a lot of hobbies that I keep on rotation. Even in the past month, like random side quests. I went rock climbing, bouldering, camping, like legitimately camping with my friends. I took a dance class. I did wakeboarding, like on a boat. It's like snowboarding, but on the water. But I want to open up the floor to you guys. If you guys have any other hobbies that you do on top of crochet, put it down in the comments. I'm about to start high school and I still have an accent when speaking English. I'm from Korea. Sometimes during middle school, not as often, people mocked my accent. Do you have any tips or will it be the same in high school? Dang, aw. Huge reason why I don't want to teach middle school is because there's something about that phase where kids are just the meanest. They're sometimes not aware of it. It's really weird. Some of them are very intentional about the hurtful things or the harmful things that they say. I am not defending them whatsoever. I just want you to be aware that the words that they say, you do not need to take them into heart. I know it's hard to ignore. It is so great that you know 2 languages. Most people would probably only know 1. And keep that in mind. To them, your English isn't perfect because that's your 2nd language. And that is something that you should be proud of. Point period blank. Your English will only get better. You're still so young. Just keep learning, keep growing. Any tips on getting into top universities and how to start the journey young? How young? I'm assuming I've been asked this question because I got into UC Berkeley. In summary, grades are important. But also do what you love. Your grades, your GPA definitely do have an impact on your overall resume. Dual enrollment programs, college classes can count for high school credits, and that raised my weighted GPA a lot. So I would look into that, or if your school or your region offers that sort of program. But also just consider classes and extracurriculars that genuinely interests you. And yes, when application time rolled around, I was a little bit stuck because I was like, this is so random because I just did everything. I was almost trying to find a pattern. Why did I stay in these clubs? Why did I stay in these leadership roles? And after sitting with that for a while, it kind of clicked with me. Everything that I continued doing is because I loved teaching it. A lot of my extracurriculars also had to do with musical theater. I did college level musical theaters as a high schooler, which was a lot of work. I don't really recommend doing that. I was surrounded by college students who professionally wanted to go into musical theater, so their rehearsal times were crazy. That's when I figured out what Red Bull was, because everyone was chugging that thing every night. I still love doing it, so a lot of my college essays had to do with performing arts. I didn't do sports in high school, and I feel like a lot of high schoolers talk about sports on their college essays. So for me, I essentially wrote musical theater like a sport, and that my team is the rest of the ensemble. There's going to be little flukes on stage. Some things are not going to go as planned. How do I improv? How do I be flexible with that? In short, I think because I had a genuine connection to the things that I involved myself with, I had so much to talk about. Colleges know that you are so young. Chances are you're not going to stay on the same path once you actually get into college. So they're probably less interested about what your dream is, because everyone has dreams, and more about what is your character. How would you blend into the people there? How would you blend into the community there? Yeah. Do you have any advice for any upcoming freshmen this year? I'm really nervous about 9th grade and I want to have an amazing school year and not get caught up in drama. Ooh. 9th grade is tough because oftentimes the drama revolves around romance. Do not date in freshman year. I don't know why that's a canon event. Everyone keeps warning you guys about this. It's gonna bite you in the back in your junior year. Don't. Just don't. Freshman year is a very pivotal time because you're meeting so many new people. It's the one year where it's actually fine to think less about school and more about your social relationships. So hectic because everybody is just like bouncing around trying to figure out who their friends are. You might be lucky and find some really great friends right from the get-go, or you might have to kind of hop around until you find the group that works for you. Friends are very important, so you do want to be careful with who you choose your friends to be, and don't take it personally if the same thing happens to you. All I would advise you on is to just overall be a good person. Just be very forgiving and have a lot of grace. Also, find a club as a freshman. It's great to have a place where you're surrounded by people who are a little bit older than you. As a freshman, you're going to be the youngest person in the room. How old are you guys? 14 years old? How is your hair so shiny? So I had an era of constantly dyeing my hair, and it was actually so dead. It was so dead. So I've been making an active effort to grow my roots out, I think up until here. Since I got rid of box dye, I've been conditioning it a lot. My hair has been recovering a lot, so lately I've noticed how your eyes have been sparkling in your videos, and I wonder if you've been wearing contacts. Sparkling eyes, you say? I did wear colored contacts for a little bit in some of my videos, but not as often. But they expired now, so I can't wear them. But I also have been told by my dorm mate that I have really sparkly eyes. I think it's because my eyes are dark. So I just think my eyes catch light more, question mark. How do you do your makeup? How do you do your lashes? Not that I can just time travel back to show you guys how I did my makeup, right? Like, that would be crazy. Well, lucky for you, let's speed around my makeup. Step 1, foundation. I use House Labs for my foundation. Yeah, I have different shades because I tan really easily. So depending on the year, I mix all of the shades together and I just put it into this random bottle. I like to pump a little bit on my hand. It's like I'm putting on concealer, but it's foundation. And then I go in with some sort of makeup sponge. This is my foundation. I use some sort of liquid blush and I mix it in with the leftover of my foundation. I also use liquid lipstick sometimes because it just has the right shade. And I like mixing it with my foundation because that almost guarantees that it's gonna match my skin tone. Just a little bit under my nose right here. I don't know, I think it looks cute. Reminds me of a deer. Where my nose is, I do here and here. I also don't question it. It just makes a really good base when I actually put my lipstick on. Sometimes if I want a more cutesy look on the bottom half of my waterline, then I do my eyebrows with an eyebrow pencil. I do more straight eyebrows. Eyebrows complete. Now it's time for the eyes. Curl my lashes. Then I go in with mascara. So I go back and forth like this as I go up. So we applied it horizontally, now we go vertically. And I'm gonna brush through like this. And that helps clump it up. And then I go in again and brush it up. This is like more natural. You can see all the individual hairs. This one makes it look more animated. You can see how it kind of groups together. I also get a little bit of my lower lashes in there too. With my eyebrow pencil, I use the same spoolie, brushing all the excess off. The clumpiness tends to form on the tips. Brush through only the tips. These are what my lashes look like so far. Eyeliner slash eyeshadow. I go in with a dark brown eyeshadow and I use a flat brush. The outer half of my eye I just line. I extend it out a straight wing it out in a straight line. And then with that same shadow, trace my lower lash line down here. And it makes my eyes look so big. Then with eyeliner, I fill in the face molds that were covered with my foundation. I think these ones are pretty cute. I just draw a line that follows the direction of the eyeshadow that I made. And then this one, do it at your own risk because it might accidentally take your eyelashes off. Gently curl my lashes again. Now to finish it off, we have lips. I usually start off with clear or like a light pink gloss. This is by Tower 28. Lip gloss that has a darker color. Peri Para has really nice lip glosses. I line the inner part of my lips, if that makes sense. So it gives it that nice ombre effect. I try to match my lipstick to my blush because I used a little bit of, what is this? This is Maybelline in the shade 70 Amazonian. And that is my makeup. I think I actually might be done with this video. Yes. If you made it this far, comment a bunny emoji so I know that you're a real one. I can't thank you guys enough for sticking through with me, not just in this video but just across my entire channel. So thankful for this community. I'm so thankful to be reading your comments. I love you guys and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.